Okay, broski, the second thing I want to address is the road safety issues on the bike. So let's take a look at that. Now, the first thing is what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not riding too aggressively for the road. So what I like to do is whenever I take off of my bike, really smooth and easy on the acceleration and really softly down on the deceleration. So really smooth, really easy down, up and down. What you don't want to do is you're going to dish, 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 dish. That's going to make you look like a jackass, and it's going to fuck with your suspension as you're riding, and it's going to make you feel a bit, well, maybe not you, but certainly make me feel a bit uncomfortable, make me feel a bit like I'm being pushed around and stuff. So it messes with my thought processes and stuff. So I'm really smooth on the acceleration, really smooth on deceleration. I hardly ever use my brakes, but I do definitely use my brakes. And when I use my brakes, I have a tendency to use my front brake rather than my rear brake. The rear brake is really only good for me personally when I'm cornering, and if I want to knock down the speed a bit, if I suddenly realise some jackass has pulled in front of me on a roundabout or whatever. And that's when I'll use that's pretty much the only situation where I can imagine using my rear brake. If I'm coming around a corner really fast and I think, ah, shit, too much speed, I put a bit of rear brake, then maybe cut it back a bit. But otherwise, most of the time I'm set up for a corner well before I get to the corner on the road, and with the road positioning and stuff, and then I'll use my front brake to do that anyway. So I hardly ever use my rear brake. In fact, my rear brake on my Diavel doesn't even fucking work. It hasn't worked for about a year, and it's actually a defective thing which Ducati will never own up to, but it doesn't work, and I don't give a shit. Every time I go down, Ducati turn around and say, hey, you know your rear brake doesn't work. And I'm saying, well, who the fuck uses the rear brake anyway? Anyway, so yeah, front brake, really important. The other thing about the front brake is you will be shocked and amazed at just how good it is. The only time I think you're ever going to find out how good it is when you have a near miss, or you have a crash situation that's about to occur, and then you hit front brake and you hit it really fucking hard, and your back end comes up in the air, and you're like, oh wow, that came up in the air all of a sudden, within a matter of meters of me accelerating off and then suddenly putting it front brake, decelerating front brake really hard, and your back end just flicks up in the air and it comes back down again nicely. You'll be shocked at how good that front brake is. Test out what your front brake's like, and it gives you a bit more confidence in when you want to use it and stuff. Okay, that's the braking side of things. So the other thing is, and this is a really important thing because nobody teaches you this in lessons, it's called counter steering. So it's exactly how you're supposed to turn a bike. Everyone tells you, right? Oh, fucking load up your, load up your foot pegs and stuff. Yeah, and when you want to turn, just load up your foot pegs and the bike should turn that way. Or they say, just lean over one way, and yeah, it's bullshit. The way you turn a bike is, and you'll see this on probably one of the greatest videos ever made, and that's called Twist of the Wrist by Keith Code. It's a fucking great guy. Anyway, Twist of the Wrist is well worth watching. In fact, I thoroughly recommend it before we do any track days together. But anyway, so basically the way you turn a bike is you counter steer. It's a weird concept, but you get the hang of it pretty quickly. So if you want to go, say, to the left, what you do is you pull your handlebar to the right towards you, which is weird. It's like, okay, the front wheel is pointing right, but I want to go left. What actually it does is it makes the bike fall to the left, and you end up going left pretty sharpish. So it's freaking brilliant for swerving and things like that, especially for track days when you want to make very fast left and right turns. That's how you turn a bike, okay? So the way you turn a bike is through counter steering. Forget about all the other bollocks that you've heard about moving your weight around on the bike, loading the pegs down. That's not how you turn a bike. That's how the way you turn a bike is you turn it through the steering wheel with very little effort required on your part. The other thing about when you are turning a bike on track days is you've got to lean over on the bike. Now, a couple of competing theories about this. A lot of guys say when you lean on a bike, you basically end up, the whole purpose about leaning on a bike is that you help the tires. There is an element of truth to that, but the main thing about leaning over the bike is that you stop the bike from falling down, because what happens is that if you don't lean off far enough on the bike, you're going to find that the bike can lean over to too high an angle, and then the bike just ends up going on its side, because there's only so much lean angle you can get out of a bike before the components on the side, like the engine casing and all the rest of it, and even the foot pegs and everything else, start actually scraping along the side of the asphalt. So what you want to do is you want to get your legs over, you want to get your knee over, and the whole purpose of the knee is so you can gauge just how far deep you're going into a turn on the bike. So it's really important to do that. Otherwise, if you don't do that, if you don't get your ass off the bike, you're gonna end up crashing the bike. That's as simple as that. Because at some point, you'll end up doing such a sharp angle, that a lean angle, that actually your bike isn't designed to do that lean angle, because it's got like a fatty stomach and a fatty side stomach, which is going to end up touching the asphalt, and then the tires leave the asphalt, and then you just end up getting rolled off the side of the track. So that's one thing. So that's how these are key things about controlling the bike. So counter steering, nice and smooth on the acceleration, deceleration, front brake. Mostly what I use is front brake, but just kind of like getting a really good feel, a really good rhythm for things. That's kind of like these are the key things. Okay.